With the election season in full swing, Why Tuesday is an organization dedicated to finding solutions to increase voter turnout and participation in elections. Take a look.
Can you talk to us about your election reform plan you're putting forward?
Well, a couple things. Number one, I think we have to make it easier to vote. And I'm assuming that Why Tuesday is in favor of, for example, having it on weekends so that more people can vote.
I think it's too bad that we have such lower voter turnout, and I'd be glad to do anything to stimulate increased participation.
Certain candidates even sent us video submissions.
You made a good point about whether or not the elections ought to be held on a Tuesday or maybe move them to Saturday or some other day. I'm certainly open to that.
You know, we shouldn't be holding our elections on a work day when so many people can't get to the polls because they do have to be at work.
Correspondent and co-founder of whytuesday.org, Jacob Soboroff, joins us to talk about the role that social media is playing in the 2012 presidential race so far. Welcome, Jacob.
Woo!
Yeah. I love people who bring on the excitement. Also around the election and politics, which is such a big issue. We talk about pop culture here, internet trends, digital, but this is where it's at right now. And what are you exactly doing? Do you think that you're actually going to change the election and the voting from taking place on Tuesday with what you're doing?
Hopefully, we'll see. You know, right now there are going to be far too many people in the United States that are going to have to vote on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November, which is where we voted in the United States for over 160-something years. But with the help of people like the folks that are watching what's trending right now, and we're challenging our presidential candidates to come up with election reform plans at whytuesday.org, I think that eventually we might be able to move Election Day to the weekend so more people can vote.
Yeah, and so what social media trends are you seeing right now? How are our politicians using the space to get the word out?
The more interesting question is the other way around.
Yeah.
How can we use the space to get to our politicians?
Interesting.
Our democracy may be broken, but I think more than ever before we're living in a videocracy with YouTube and a Twitterocracy and a Facebookocracy where we can actually get to these politicians, or at least the people that stand, you know, as close as I'm standing to you right now to these politicians every single day, and actually affect change on our own.
Yeah, we're seeing Tumblr, Google Plus has put together a whole best practices for politicians.
Absolutely.
So they're taking advantage of these tools more than ever before, more than even Obama in that election.
If you want to, I guess Newt Gingrich did a Google Plus hangout, and if you could be sitting at home in your pajamas and actually be kicking it with Newt Gingrich.
That's connecting with your politicians. So who do you think would come out on top in terms of the Republican nomination?
You could come out on top, frankly. There have been so many different frontrunners in the election that really it's impossible to tell at this point. I think that with 30-something days to go till Iowa, I think it's anybody's game. But breaking news for what's trending audience.
Bring it on, break it.
Herman Cain, according to Jeff Zeleny at the New York Times, is currently reassessing his campaign for the Republican presidential nomination. So maybe on next week's show, we'll have a whole different conversation.
We will. It's constantly changing, and that's not really a big surprise.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, anything is possible in politics, and between now and the first votes is an eternity.
Well, Jacob, you rock. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your
you.
political knowledge. You can find out more about Jacob at jacobsoboroff.com, and of course, be sure to check out whytuesday.org. Go do it. We'll be talking more about what's trending in politics with Jacob as the campaign season heats up.